Hello and welcome to this week's 15-minute make. This week I'm going to show you a quick and easy way to make a journal. Now I love journals, I love making journals, I love seeing journals. I am not somebody who spends ages making the actual journals, because to be honest I'd rather just get on and get the pages filled, work into them. So if you are looking for a tutorial that teaches you how to create a beautifully bound journal with immaculate stitching and everything measured and everything neat, this is probably not for you, because I am quite rough and ready when it comes to making journals. I want to do it quickly and I want to get on with it. Okay, so if that's what you're after, then keep watching, because I'm going to show you how to make a little journal using one of these the lateral flow test boxes that we've all got lots of. These are the ones that we get in the UK. They might be different where you are. If you don't have one of these, you could probably use like a cereal box or any sort of thin cardboard, any sort of packaging box that is similar to this. It's not too thick card, which is what makes it great. And when I saw this, we've got quite a few at the moment, when I saw this I thought that would make a great book, because this bit you can sort of fold over and make that into a journal. So I'm going to show you a quick way to do it, and these are some of the ones that I've already made. So you can see this is one that's already got a signature inside it, and I'm just using it's kind of a junk journal style, so scraps of collage papers inside, and then this bit handily tucks in there. And I'm going to show you how to put a cover on it if you do want to do that. So you can make a little cover. It's not going in now. There we go. So you can make a cover like that. I'll show you how to do that. And then once you've got your journal, you can work into it like I'm doing here. All right, let's get started then. So for this, before I start off, you are going to need a box, cardboard box, or one of these lateral flow kit boxes to work with, some scissors, some papers, any sort of papers. I'm using security envelopes, old bits of paper, old collage paper. Some are painted, some aren't. And I've cut these to the size of the box, so I'll show you that when we get to it. You'll need needle and thread, a craft knife, and some glue, and if you want to do a cover, then just some collage papers to make your cover out of as well. Right, let's move these out to the side. So the first thing you're going to do is just cut the sides off of the box. Okay, so once you've got it like that, it's held together, this one, by a little sticker, but that's not going to be strong enough. So I would take some glue and just glue down the inside there. Glue's decided to run out. Let's see if we've got another one. Yeah. So this is just normal Pritt sticks, just a glue stick, just a cheap one, and I'm just going to glue that down, just press it down to secure it. I'm just going to tidy up those edges slightly. Obviously it's up to you how long you want to spend on this, but I'm usually quite keen just to get started working into the journals. That's why I don't take so much time over actually making them. So once you've got that, then you can fold it. Let me see how I did this. Yeah. So you want to keep the spine like that. This isn't sticking very well, so I think it's actually my glue which is drying out a little bit. So once you've got that shape, then I'm going to take the flap and fold that over so it's straight against there. And this is where we're going to just cut our little opening for this tab to go in. So I'm just going to fold that up and draw a line roughly where it sits, and then take the craft knife and just carefully cut into that. So that I get a narrow slit for that to go into. And just test it out. I need to make that a little bit longer. There we go. There, so that's going in there nicely now. This is not wanting to stick. My Pritt Stick is not sticking on the spine, so I'm going to do a little bit of tape, I think. I've got masking tape to hand. You could use washi tape or just ordinary sellotape, but it's just to secure it in place. There you go. And if you want, you could do it over spine as well, but I think that'll be fine. Okay, so let's just check that goes in okay. Yeah, that's going in there fine. So we've got the start of our journal there. Now I'm going to put some collage papers onto the front cover, and to do that I'm just going to choose some random papers, and I'm going to use some of this glue stick on top. I'm just going to give a covering on the whole of the box. And I'm just going to place some collage papers on top. Not really loving that colour. Let's choose this colour. This is just some painted tissue paper that I've been using, so I'm going to stick that over the whole thing. And I might have a strip of this on as well. This is some painted tissue paper that I've printed on top of as well. You could use any collage papers though. You could even use just plain paper, craft paper, brown paper, packaging, anything like that. Let's just stick that on. Some paint on my board making a bump. Okay. Once you've got that on, then we're just going to turn that over, and I'm just going to simply cut around the edge of this. Those bits to the side, and you'll be able to use those in collage later. Now I'm just going to go over the edges and just make sure that all the corners are stuck down. Just seemed like an ideal thing to use this box for something, because there's so much waste with the packaging on the lateral flow test boxes with all the plastic and things. It just seemed like a shame to just throw it away. So now you will see that, let me see, I haven't got my slit anymore there because I've gone over it. I can sort of feel where it is, but I'm going to just do the same as we did before. Put that down and mark it again. That should be roughly in the same place as it was, and I'm just going to cut. Go. And there you've got your journal cover. Again, you could take your time really neatening up the edges, cutting it down. You could even put some washi tape around the edge just to secure it, but like I say, I'm keen just to get the journal made and get working into it, so I probably won't bother doing that. Okay, so the next bit is we're going to put our signature inside the journal, and these pieces of paper are just random bits of paper from my stash. So I've got security envelopes, some newsprint, which I think came from fish and chip wrappers, some painted lined paper, old magazine, vintage magazine, some papers that have just been roughly painted on, and copy paper. And I'm just sort of spreading out the pages, so I've got a variety. I don't want sort of two types of paper next to each other, so I've got a variety as I work through the book. So I'm going to make sure that these papers are no bigger than the span of the book. Now I'm gonna, you see how I've got them central, so the short bits are sort of centered here so that they will all fit nicely in the book. And I'm just going to fold that in half, press down the spine in the middle, and I'm just going to check whether that fits. So you can see that these bits are hanging over. Now all I'm going to do literally is get my scissors and just take off some of those pages. Again, I'm not worried about these being neat. I know that once I work into this, it'll have papers and things sticking out all over the place. So keep your scraps, they'll be great for collage. And you can see I've got straight edges now, but inside I've still got lots of irregular pages, but that should fit neatly inside the journal now. So you can see it closes fine. I don't mind if bits stick out the top and the bottom. It's up to you if you want to trim those down as well. But the important thing is that you can close it so it fits in there. Okay. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is just to, oh, I was going to say as well, if you didn't want to see this masking tape and to neaten it up a bit inside, then of course you could cover this side with some backing paper or something as well, but I'm probably not going to bother doing that. So the next bit I'm going to do is I'm going to sew this signature together. I've just got a needle and thread. My needle it's not that thick, it's a bit bigger than a normal sort of needle, and this is just ordinary thread. I think this is sort of wax thread, but you don't need to use that. You could just use embroidery thread or anything really. And as I said before, I don't bother measuring these. I just make them quite rough and ready. You can see how it's going to be here. This one I did sort of measure and then I didn't stick to it anyway, so I'm just going to eyeball it and see how we get on. So the first thing that you're going to do is you want a hole sort of roughly in the centre of the spine of your journal, and that's going to come through into the centre of here. So I'm just going to put a hole roughly in the centre, work it around a bit. Now you've got to decide whether you want your thread to be on the spine or whether you want it to be inside. I quite like having it on the outside, so I'm going to go through starting off from the outside. So needle in, and I haven't knotted this. You could do, but I can just sort of hold it in place. So I'm holding that in place so it doesn't come any further, and then I'm going to open up my signature. Now there are loads of different ways to do this stitch. I think it's called a pamphlet stitch. I probably don't do it the traditional correct way of doing it, but it's the way that works for me, and it's a quick way. That's what I'm aiming for, something quick that you can just do quickly, 15 minutes, and get yourself a journal made, no fuss. So all I've done is roughly in the centre of this, I just poked the needle through and just pulling it through. Okay, and this is where you have to be careful not to pull your thread through if you haven't done a knot. If you want to do a knot, you can do, and just pulling it so it's tight. So it's tight there, and you can see it fits neatly into there. Now I'm going to just put another hole through my signature about halfway between the centre and the edge of the signature, so about a quarter of the way down. And I've got quite a few pages, so it is going to be a bit stiff to push through, but you can just work it through that's coming through now. Oh. There we go. And just make sure that sort of stayed in position. And then just put yourself another hole to line up with that, so roughly sort of there in the spine, and then pull it through. Rectangle there. Okay, so pull that through. Just check that you've got that right there, so you can see that's in now. I'm gonna now take my thread all the way down, so past the centre line to about 1/4 of the way the other way through the spine, and if you can get it through the pages at the same time, then do that. I'm pressing down on my board and just push it up, work it through, and then back into that first hole that you did. Doesn't matter if it doesn't go into the hole, you can just go right next to it, doesn't matter, and pull it through. And there you've got your signature in and secure, and then you can just chop that long thread off and then tie this in a knot or a bow, however you want to do it. I like to leave a few threads dangling, but if you wanted to really neaten it up, you could do and cut it right down to the spine so there's no threads dangling. I've always sort of been reluctant to show how, or to film how I make my journals, because I know that I don't do it perfectly. I don't do it as you're probably supposed to do it, but these are the books that work for me, and I think part of it is because I'm not precious about them. I know that they've not taken me ages to make. I know that I can make them again quickly. I know that the paper inside isn't expensive paper. They're just great for me to grab and work in them, and I don't feel precious about them. And for me, that makes me be able to produce more work, because I'm not worried about working in an expensive sketchbook or in a journal that's taken me days and days to make. I think if I tried to work in a journal like that, I'd probably feel like too scared to work in it, because I'd be afraid of sort of ruining it. So these are great for me, little junk journals. They work quickly. I mean, I can make them quickly, and then I can work in them quickly as well. Just grab them and I've got pages ready to work on. So I hope that that's given you some ideas for how you can use your lateral flow boxes. This is one that I've started working into, experimenting with how I'm using photographs at the moment. So watch this space for more of that. If you do have a go at making these, please do tag me in your makes over on Instagram. I love seeing how you get on with them, and yeah, go and have some fun. Thanks for watching.